It's almost 2025, which means we have to prepare a list of the most anticipated book releases for that year, things to look forward to. I have about 15, 20 of them, so we're going to go through them, and I will be editing this video to name them in order that they will be published to try and be a little bit more helpful. As always, everything will be in the description box, so let's get to it. The first book on this list is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I have read 3 of his books, I think just within the last year, and I gave all 3 4-star. They're all like horror books, and this one includes witches, which is literally all I need to know to read a book. It's coming out January 14th and should be about 500 pages. I did request the advanced reader copy and I was refused. I'm so not bitter about it, but the second that is out, I will be reading it and letting you know if it is worth reading. If it's another 4-star, I'll be very, very happy, but because of witches, I feel like I'm extra happy. The Wayward Girls, I believe, are young girls who got pregnant, so they go to this displays in the 70s to give birth, and I'm assuming this is where the witchy vibes are gonna come, which I'm hoping I'm gonna love that one, for sure. The next book is already out. I think it's being reprinted. I don't know if there is going to be any editing. I wanted to include it so I could get some answers from you, but I really want to read it, so I might as well include it. I think it's just a new cover, but I'm looking forward to it anyway. Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I've read a couple of her books and I have really been enjoying them. Actually, I think in 2024 she came out with Sorceress Something that is also on my TBR. I will be reading more by her. I think this year was the first year and I've read like 2 or 3, so I will continue for sure. But this one is an adult fantasy, a little bit of romance, I believe. The main character is a housekeeper and she inherits the estate of her great uncle and also, you know, the family and everything that goes with it. So I will read it. I don't know what's going on with the dates. I wanted to include it anyway because I did put it on my list. So this one I'm cheating a little bit because I haven't finished book 2, but what the heck. There is the Tomes and Tea series. In this series, you're following these 2 women who fled their old life to open up a coffee shop / bookshop. And it's kind of cozy, but there are still some adventures. So I really wanted to add this one to my TBR because again, I'm not finished with book 2, but I will get there. Let me read you the dedication of book 2 just to give you an idea of what the author is about, because she said, "To the people who gave me 1-star reviews because the first book had lesbians, I doubled the lesbians in this one just for you." So I feel like that will make anyone want to read her books. So I will. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping is coming out on March 6th. It's going to be 336 pages. I have been waiting for this one because it was originally supposed to come out in 2024 and it was pushed back. It's from the same author that wrote A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Clearly she likes those long titles, but I think both of them are going to be adult cozy fantasy. In this one, the main character apparently saved her very wealthy aunt who passed away. She brought her back to life, but she lost her magical powers. And then I think throughout the story, she is helping her with N, and she will find a book and she has to try to get her magic back, something like that. Either way, after reading her first book, I really want to try more cozy, something fun. And even though she tends to handle like darker topics or heavier topics, it still feels pretty cozy. So I'm hoping that this will work for me. We'll find out pretty early on in 2025. The book in March that is coming out is going to be the 3rd in a series that I have to catch up to, but still, this is the Susan Ryland series, book 3 being Marble Hall Murders, and it should be 384 pages. I love the first book. Think murder mystery, small town, England. It's cozy because of that. I listened to the first one as an audiobook. I really enjoyed it. And then the second book I had to put down because I got confused and they all seem to have that same format. So you have, I just bought the physical copy. You have the actual story, then you get to an actual book from that world where it is a murder mystery that seems to be very similar to what's going on. So you get the actual story and then you go back to the real world. It was just too confusing as an audiobook, so I decided to get the physical book, and I'll do the same with the third one if I do enjoy this one. But again, I am on a quest to reading and finishing more series, so I could catch up to this one. I don't know if there's going to be more than 3, but the third one is coming out in 2025. So if you were looking for more cozy murder mysteries, that's definitely one to check out. A lot of books are coming out in March because on March 18, a new prequel to the Hunger Games is coming out. And some people might be like, another one. I don't care. I will read all of them. This one is going to be called Sunrise on the Reaping. This one is going to be about the 50th Hunger Games. This is going to be one of the quarterly one, the quarter-quell one. And you're following Hamish, which I've been curious to hear more about his story. So we're going to finally get that one. It should be about 400 pages. So I'm looking forward to that one. I will say that about every book on this list. I did get accepted for this arc. This is When the Moon Hits Your Eye by John Scalzi. It's coming out on the 25th of March. And I've read 4 of his books, I believe, and they're all a little funny, so I wasn't too afraid when I heard what the premise was about, because it sounds cheesy, literally, because the moon turns into cheese, which I feel like normally from anyone else I would have been like, I don't think that's going to be for me, but for him, I'm going to give it a shot because, again, I have enjoyed. He tends to include a lot of like dad jokes, but it works. So I'm assuming this is going to be an adult sci-fi that will be just humorous, and it should be around 336 pages, so I'm open to it. I'll let you know. I'll try to read it before it's out. Earlier this year, I read How to Solve Your Own Murder and really enjoyed it. I listened to that one as an audiobook. It's like murder mystery, kind of cozy because of the accent, not gonna lie. But this woman, her relative passes away, she's murdered, and she inherits her money. But in order to get that money, she needs to solve the murder within a week, and a lot happens, and it still felt cozy, even though, again, murder mystery. I would recommend it, and I hadn't realized at the time that it was going to be a duology. So the second book is going to be called How to Seal Your Own Fate, and it's coming out in March on the 27th. And it should be 320 pages, so it should be a fairly quick read. Also, I'm really excited to see where the story is going to go, because again, it felt the ending was satisfying, so I'm curious what else is going to come out, but I'm open to it. It better not be a joke that this book is coming out on April 1st. But A Drop of Corruption is the second book in the Shadow of the Leviathan series. It's going to be 430 pages. I absolutely adored A Tainted Cup. I read this also this year. I'm trying to keep up with the series. And you're following the assistant to this woman. Think of her as like Sherlock Holmes, but with magic. And she doesn't like to leave her house, but she has to solve magical murder mysteries. And the main character, as his assistant, he has magical powers that are linked to scent and memory. So basically he goes to a place where something has happened to investigate, look at the room, investigate, talk to people, interrogate people, and he's spilling something from a jar at the same time, which helps him memorize everything, keep everything in mind, so whenever he goes back to her, he can just tell her all the information. So the first book was actually really good, a lot of political intrigue. You got hints of the magical world too. These giant creatures come in every year and they try to destroy this wall, and every year they become stronger and stronger. So I feel like we're going to get more and more of that in the second book. I'm really looking forward to, and I feel like the title does imply that the political intrigue is going to get more and more intense. So very excited for that one. There's another book coming out on April 1st. They really better not be lying to us. I will not be able to cope. But Say You'll Remember Me is a book by this author. I have read like 3 books by her this year, and they're all adult romance. And I used to be a hater, and I'm slowly changing my mind. Book 1, at least in that series, was a favorite. Book 3 was also good. Book 2, let's not talk about it. But I want to try more by her, and this one is her newest release that's coming out, like I said, on the 1st of April. It should be 416 pages, and I'm looking forward to it, tentatively. I believe these 2 characters have like a date that is like endless, it's perfect, but then she realizes that she can't cope at the moment. She has too much going on with her life. So Say You'll Remember Me, they separate, and then I'm assuming they're going to get back together. So I'll try that one when it's out for sure. On the 22nd of April, Emily Henry is coming back to us with another adult romance book. I feel like she's mostly my exception. I have read 5 of her books. I have enjoyed 3, which is a good average. To be fair, the 2 I gave 5-star to were back to back. So like, now I'm convinced I want to read everything else by her. And she's coming out with Great Big Beautiful Life, which should be 384 pages. Also, that's a weirdly specific number. In this one, you're following these 2 characters who are competing over 1 month to get the opportunity to write the biography of this really famous woman. And in the description, I don't know if this is a spoiler, I haven't read the book clearly, but it says that this woman, this 80-year-old woman, is claiming to be this person. I don't know if she will actually be that person or not, but yeah, I'm assuming they're going to fall in love because Emily Henry. So I will be reading that one also. On May 6th, the second book in the Hierarchy series is going to be coming out, and it is The Strength of the Few. I loved The Will of the Many. It was my first 5-star of 2024. It was a recommendation by you. It had just come out the year prior, and I have been waiting to continue anxiously this series. A classic adult high fantasy series where the main character is attempting to get revenge, but there's also a magical school, a little bit of a murder mystery. There's some great friendships in there. I enjoyed the twists and turns. I have been joking around that the magical system is a MLM. It's like a giant pyramid scheme because the people at the bottom loses their strength, and it gives the strength to the people, and they get stronger and stronger the higher they are on the pyramid. So it's just funnier to call it MLM. But yes, I've been really looking forward to seeing how the story is going to evolve now that we're going to be out of the magical school, because it's a personal favorite of mine. So I'm hoping that I will still love this. It is based on the Roman Empire, which I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, but I'm really, really invested. So I'm looking forward to that one also. As soon as it's out, I will be picking it up, and it is also a series. I have a lot of those on my list. Another book that I did get the art for is The Devils by Joel Abercrombie. I have read one series by him that I did enjoy, so I wanted to try more by him, and why not his newest release. This one is coming out on May 6th and should be 560 pages. And it's described as a dark fantasy, so like fantasy horror. I think the main character might be some kind of priest, and there's going to be magic and devils, so I'm excited. I'll let you know how that goes too. One series that I absolutely need to continue next year is the Burning series. Book 3 is coming out in 2025 on the 8th of May. It should be 432 pages. I really enjoyed the first one, which was The Rage of Dragons. You follow a main character who is a reluctant character. There's this big war happening. He doesn't really care that much. But then something happens very early in the beginning, and it becomes a revenge story. So now he's motivated. He has to learn to fight very quickly. The world building is interesting, but mostly the magic system, which we mostly get like to see it, but not get answers. And I really, really want more answers. I can't believe I actually haven't continued yet. So we're going to fix that. I will also be reading book 2, which is already out, The Fire of Vengeance, and then I'll be able to continue to book 3. On June 10th, we're going to get into the book by V.E. Schwab, which I'm really, really looking forward to because I love The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I feel like it became really, really popular. I love the writing. I feel like this was her best writing. And she's coming out with Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil, which should be 560 pages, and it should be another adult fantasy standalone. And it seems to be implying that there's going to be vampires and maybe some queer relationships. So I'm just really excited to read anything else by her at this point. But we have that to look forward to mid-year. And I actually have an advanced reader copy of that one. So I will be reading it before it's out. So I will let you know if it's worth it. Hopefully it is. One of the weirdest books I've ever read is Vita Nostra, which I've read the first book. The second book came out, Assassins of Reality, but then the third book is finally going to be translated to English. It's coming out June 17th and should be 384 pages. I'm starting to believe that this is just a random number that they're writing because it's too specific and it's the third book I've seen. Either way, it doesn't matter. School of Shards is coming out, or is going to be translated to English, and I want to read it. I do have to catch up, like I said, to book 2 first, but dark academia, magic, or just weird, and I'm hoping book 2 will be good, and then if it is, I will be continuing. If you were interested in this series, this is the officially last one. I think there's a companion novel to this one. I thought they were $4, but it's saying that it's the final chapter. So I refuse to read the summary because I don't want any spoilers for book 2. So I don't know. Next, we have R.F. Kuang coming back with a new novel. This one is going to be coming out on August 28th. There's no cover yet, but it should be called Catabasis, and it should be 560 pages. So far what we know about the premise is that you're following these two academics. They're rivals, and they're both having to work together to save their advisor, specifically Isolde from hell. So it should be an adult fantasy, but apparently it's going to be a little bit of a romance too. We'll see. She hasn't really written romance yet. There was like a love interest in the Poppy War series, but it's not a romantic book at all. So I'm curious to see how she will do. But if you enjoy mythology, I'm assuming that that will be something to add to your own TBR. Fonda Lee is coming out with an adult sci-fi, a space opera in October on the 9th. There's no specific amount of pages yet. There's no cover yet, but it should be called The Last Contract of Iseko. I haven't tried any sci-fi by her. I love the Greenbone Saga, although I haven't forgiven her for the pain she brought me, but that's a different story. It seems like it's going to be also very action-driven. They're saying espionage, sword fight, and a isolated planet. So I wanted to try something else by her, and hopefully this one will be less painful. So this is what's currently on my list of most anticipated releases of 2025, about 18 books. Obviously more will be announced. I will find out about more. Hopefully you leave some in the comment section that I will be able to add also to my list. Hopefully you found something to add to yours. I hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up, subscribe. I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out because I'm posting a video every 2 days during the month of December. So a lot to look forward to, and I will see you then. Bye.